is a version of dying into your old self so that something new can be born, right? You have to surrender. If you cannot submit, you cannot die. If you cannot die, you cannot be reborn. And this is what happens during an experience of awe, and that's why it can be terrifying until you learn to surrender, until you learn to let go.
If you're feeling helpless right now, become helpful. You can't simultaneously be helpful and helpless. You know, if you're feeling anxiety, fear, helplessness, you know that's your ego, because it's about you. You've made it about you. If you can get out of you and serve someone else.
There's no such thing as anyone starts life, behind the start line. I look at myself as equal to everyone that I'm in a room with, and the separation between where I want to go and where I am is my work ethic. So my mindset is always that anybody can be great. I want to be the greatest ever at what I do. So everything I touch, everything I pour my time and talent into, I don't think about being great. I think about how can I be the greatest? And that takes a huge amount of introspection. It takes a huge amount of self-reflection and honesty. And it also takes humility, because you have to ask for help in order to be the greatest.
You become one with the universe, right? You are part of the universe, but guess what? The universe is a part of you. You have Carl Sagan's notion that I am a way for the cosmos to know itself. And this recontextualization of the self blasts new tunnels between the mind and the other. It ticks the box of Tolstoy in the sense that you have to find a way of bridging the finite with the infinite. And that is what a mystical experience is.
But you were born to do something great with your life. And that's easy to forget when you're going, I'm in scarcity mode, I need to survive. I mean, that sounds great, Ed, but you don't understand. I'm unemployed. I've got rent that I'm going to have to start paying again. I understand that, and I'm saying one of the pathways out is you remind yourself, I was born to do something great, big ways and small ways. And some of the smallest great things you will ever do in your life are the most important.
You think about the archetype of a superhero, they always have an obstacle to overcome. There's always the height of climax. And I don't believe that I'm so great that I don't have the ability to go through difficult circumstances. I think it's necessary in order to realize your greatness, because when you're tested, you are given the ability to have a testimony. So you can't have a testimony without a test. And just, in my life, I've been tested significantly. And each time, I've developed a new skill set or a new muscle to help me run this race.
You react to thoughts, that's the fact. Here's another great fact. You can change your thoughts anytime you like, and if you change your thinking, it changes your entire life. So for instance, we're all saying, I'm stuck at home. I go, no, I'm safe at home. You change one little word, it changes everything. So we're not stuck, we're not locked in, we're not trapped, we're not in prison. It's not an apocalypse. It's not Armageddon, but if you start to use those words, it begins to feel exactly as if it is that case.
An experience of awe and rapture or poetic rhapsody ticks all these boxes. Feelings of interconnection, feelings of communion with the infinite, feelings that you are part of something larger than yourself, feelings of ecstatic well-being, feelings of a noetic truth that's deeper than the literal grid of the everyday. If an experience ticks all those boxes, that is considered a mystical experience. And we know that is healing. People suffering from treatment-resistant depression and treatment-resistant anxiety are given a single dose of psilocybin psychedelic mushrooms in a controlled environment with 2 therapists in the room. If they have a mystical experience, which a large majority of them do, they are healed of their existential distress. They no longer meet the criteria of depression and or anxiety. Why? Because the whole story of who and what they are has been transformed.
But I must say, everyone, we're 3-4 weeks into this, and it's time now, if you have it, to begin to create these structures around you again. It's time to be growing. It's time to be engaging again. For me, it's about creating more structure when the world isn't giving it to me. I need to create more. So I'm crazy. I'm getting up a half hour earlier than I normally do. Why? Because I know everybody else is getting up an hour or 2 later. And it's just another thing. I wake up, I go, I'm doing things not everybody's willing to do.
I mean, your greatest enemy is your enemy. It's the conversation you have in your mind. So the battle that's within is greater than the battle that's in the world. So once you're able to fight that consistently and calm yourself and control yourself and be methodical and specific about how you respond, nothing will surprise you. You're immovable at that point. You won't waver. You won't break.
Take a journal, do it in your phone in the notes, or do it in your journal or on a pad, and write down the stuff you do on a daily basis, hour by hour. And then go through it and literally look at the stuff, as simple as this sounds. Look at the stuff and say, is everything on this list drive me towards being a better version of myself, or more wealth if that's what you want, or being a better dad is what I obsess on, or being a better family man, or being more conscious, being more spiritual? Like, does it help God, the universe, or a bigger version of me? And if it doesn't, should it really be something that's on my list?
They say the beginning of a personal crisis is when the story you tell yourself about yourself is no longer convincing, right? But you have an experience of awe. You have an experience of opiated adjacency. You have an experience that blasts new tunnels between yourself and the other. You have an experience of radical cosmic recontextualization when you connect with something larger than yourself. You have Campbell's apotheosis, right? And you are born anew.
What does this mean to me? And can I change the meaning? If when I can change the meaning, it will change my life, because the meaning is yours to change. The way you feel about everything is down to two things: the pictures you make in your head and the words. The way you feel about everything, every minute of every day, is only down to two things: the pictures you make in your head and the words you say. But you could make that even simpler and say, forget about the pictures, because the words make the picture.
A young man reveres men of genius because, to speak truly, they are more himself than he is. And that is the perfect sort of way to think about being young and trying to build a mindset for yourself, is that, when you read the great philosophers or just the great thinkers about anything, what is so enlightening about them is that they knew how to say these things.
If you want to be the greatest at something, you have to be open to improving. There's no way around it. You can't say, I'm good, I'm done, that's it, I'm the best ever, and I don't have to develop a new skill set. Nah, man, every day I'm searching for ways to add to my game.
Precisely, with clarity, do you want in this area of your life? What do you want? What is your ideal vision for yourself with health and fitness? What does your ideal love relationship look like? Find the courage within you to ask for what you really want, because that's the only way you're going to get it. You know how few people have a concept of what their highest self looks like in every important area? I mean, that is a massively valuable thing.
That's F. Scott Fitzgerald's notion of a transitory enchanted moment in which man must have held his breath, compelled into an aesthetic contemplation he neither understood nor desired, face to face for the last time in history with something commensurate to our capacity for wonder. The alternative to this, to say no to that, to shy away from that, the alternative is a bummer. The alternative is unconsciousness. The alternative is the default setting. The alternative is the rat race, the constant gnawing sense to have had and lost some infinite thing.
You're running away from pain and that's your driver. Great, use it. Actually feel the pain more. Don't ignore it and live a life of status quo, or even a life of struggle because of that. In fact, let the pain sink in and let it be your driver.
So what do I believe? What do I want? Why do I want that? What's the purpose behind that belief? What will I gain if I achieve it? And what will I lose if I don't?
Don't put your joy in the future. Find joy in the moment. Even if it's the most hard, labor-intensive work, demeaning work possible, find joy in that work. Look at your struggle as immersive empathy.